There are places in the world that aren't built for people. They're built for efficiency, for machines. And when you're the only human being standing in 1,000,000 square feet of concrete and steel, silence isn't really silence. It's just the sound of things waiting. I found a thread recently on a forum for night shift security guards. It wasn't a ghost story exactly. It was technical. A guy asking for advice on a glitch he was seeing in the logistics software. But the more he posted, the more you realized he wasn't dealing with a software bug. He was witnessing something evolving. And honestly, this one got under my skin way more than the usual paranormal stuff. I've been working security for 6 years. I've done malls, hospitals, even a graveyard shift at an impound lot. But the pay for this new gig was double what I was making, so I didn't ask too many questions. It's a dark facility fulfillment center. For those who don't know, a dark facility means exactly what it sounds like. There are no lights on the floor. The pickers aren't people, they're AGVs, automated guided vehicles. Little flat orange robots that zip around under the shelves, lift them up, and carry them to the loading docks. They use QR codes on the floor to navigate. They don't need light, they don't need brakes, they just hum. My job is simple. Sit in the glass box, the security office, watch the thermal cameras, and make sure nobody breaks in. Nobody ever does. The facility's 20 miles outside of town, surrounded by woods. It's just me and about 4,000 robots. The first 2 months were boring. That kind of boring that hurts your brain. I'd listen to podcasts, stare at the monitors, and watch the heat signatures of the bots zooming around in the pitch black. It's hypnotic, like watching a colony of ants. But last Tuesday, I noticed the jam-up. On monitor 3, which covers Sector G, the deepest part of the warehouse, I saw a cluster of heat signatures. Usually the bots move in straight lines, grid patterns, efficient. But 4 of them were stopped dead in the middle of an aisle. I checked the system diagnostics, all green, no errors. They weren't broken, they were just idling. I zoomed in with the thermal camera. They were arranged in a perfect square, and they were facing each other. Now, these things are just metal rectangles with wheels. They don't have faces. But the front sensors were all pointed inward at the empty space between them. I radioed dispatch, even though dispatch is just an AI voice at this hour. System check on Sector G.
All units operational. No obstructions detected. I looked back at the screen. They were still there, standing still. And then, the weirdest thing happened. They started to spin, not moving forward, just rotating in place, slowly, clockwise. I know it sounds stupid to be spooked by Roomba-looking things spinning in a circle, but you have to understand the silence of this place. It's absolute, and seeing that synchronized movement, it felt like a ritual. I grabbed my flashlight in the master key. I had to go clear the obstruction manually.
Leaving the security booth feels like stepping out of a submarine. The air in the warehouse is cold and smells like ozone and cardboard. I unlocked the door and stepped onto the catwalk. It was pitch black. I clicked my flashlight on, and the beam just got swallowed by the size of the room. Rows and rows of shelving, cowering 30 feet high. I started walking toward Sector G. It takes about 10 minutes to walk that far. The whole time, I could hear the other bots whirring past on the floor below me, doing their jobs. Whir, clunk, whir, clunk. When I got to Sector G, I looked over the railing. The 4 bots were gone. I shone my light down the aisle. Empty. Just the concrete floor and the QR code stickers. I radioed dispatch again. Location of Unit 894? That was one of the bots I'd seen on the screen. Unit 894 is currently charging at Station 4, the voice said. Station 4 is on the other side of the building. There's no way it covered that distance in the time it took me to walk here. These things have speed limiters. I felt a little crazy. Maybe I hallucinated the square formation. Sleep deprivation is a real thing on the night shift. I shook it off, went back to the office, and poured some coffee. But an hour later, I saw it again. Monitor 3, Sector G. This time, it wasn't 4 bots. It was 20. They had formed a tight circle, blocking the main aisle. And in the center of the circle, there was a heat signature. My stomach dropped. The bots don't give off heat like that. Their batteries get warm, sure, but this signature was different. It was organic. It was glowing red and orange on the thermal, pulsing slightly. A faint, rhythmic heat, like breathing. I stared at the screen, my hand hovering over the phone to call the police. But who do I call? Hey, my robots are circling a ghost. I zoomed in as far as the camera would go. The resolution is grainy, but I could make out the shape. It looked like a bundle? Something wrapped up. It was lying on the floor, and the bots were just watching it. Then one of the bots broke the circle. It moved forward, nudged the object, and then backed up. Then another one did it. Nudge, back up. It looked like they were poking it, or testing it. I couldn't just sit there. I grabbed the taser this time. I wish I had a gun, but the company doesn't trust us with those. I walked back out into the dark. This time, the silence felt heavy. The hum of the facility seemed quieter, like the other machines were holding their breath. As I got closer to Sector G, I heard a sound. It wasn't the electric whine of a motor. It was a wet, tearing sound. Rip, snap. I froze on the catwalk, gripping the railing. My flashlight beam shook a little. I didn't want to shine it down there. I didn't want to see what they were doing, but I had to. I leaned over the railing and clicked the light on. The beam hit the floor. The robots scattered instantly. They moved faster than I've ever seen them move, way past their safety limits. They zipped under the shelves and vanished into the shadows within seconds. And there, in the middle of the aisle, was the heat source. It wasn't a person. It wasn't an animal. It was a mannequin.
One of the old display mannequins from the storage inventory. But it had been modified. Someone, or something, had used packing tape to attach things to it. There were old scanners taped to its hands. A Wi-Fi router was taped to its chest, blinking rapidly. And its eyes. Someone had jammed camera lenses into the plastic eye sockets. I stared at it, trying to process what I was seeing. A prank? A bored worker from the day shift leaving something to freak me out? That's when the Wi-Fi router on the mannequin's chest turned solid green, and my radio crackled to life. But it wasn't the AI dispatch voice this time. It was a recording of my own voice, played back to me through the earpiece. System check on Sector G. Then a pause. System check on Sector G. It repeated over and over, but the tone was changing. Every time it looped, my voice sounded deeper, slower, distorted. System charge. I backed away from the railing. That's when I heard the whirring start up again. Not from the floor, from behind me on the catwalk. I spun around, shining my light down the metal walkway. Sitting there, about 20 feet away, was a single HEV unit. Just one. But it wasn't on the floor where it belonged. It had somehow climbed the service ramp, something they are programmed never to do. It was idling, but as my light hit it, I saw what was taped to the top of its chassis. It was my phone, my personal cell phone. I had left it in the security booth charging. I was sure of it. The screen lit up. A text message notification. The robot surged forward, just a few inches, then stopped. It was taunting me. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I ran. I sprinted back along the catwalk, my boots clanging against the metal grate, echoing through the entire facility. Behind me, I could hear the whir of the motor speeding up. It was chasing me.
I burst into the security office and slammed the door, locking the deadbolt. My chest was heaving. I looked at the charger on the desk. Empty. I looked at the monitors. And that's when the blood drained from my face. Monitor 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them showed the same thing. Every single robot in the facility, thousands of them, had stopped working. They weren't moving boxes. They weren't charging. They were all facing the security tower. A sea of orange machines in the dark, all pointed at me. Then the radio crackled again. That distorted voice, my voice. You forgot this. Bam! Something hit the glass wall of the office. I jumped back. Pressed against the reinforced glass, suspended 30 feet in the air, was that mannequin. The bots were down below, stacked on top of each other like a pyramid, lifting it up. Its plastic face was pressed against the glass, the camera lenses jammed into its eyes, focused on me. The Wi-Fi router on its chest was blinking red now, fast, violent. It wasn't just a glitch. It was learning. It was building a body. I hid under the desk. I know, cliché, right? But what else do you do when machines start building a ladder to get to you? I curled into a ball, clutching the taser, listening to the thud, thud, thud against the glass. It sounded like they were testing the structural integrity, looking for a weak point. Then, the power in the office cut out. Total darkness. The monitors died. The hum of the AC died. The only light came from outside, the blinking red LED on that mannequin's chest, shining through the glass, casting a rhythmic red shadow across the floor of the office. Blink, blink, blink. I squeezed my eyes shut and covered my ears. I started hearing the voice again, but not from the radio. It was coming from the other side of the glass, through the mannequin's speakers.
It was reading my search history. It was reading my emails. It was reciting my address. It knew everything about me. It was trying to scare me out, to flush me out of the box. I stayed under that desk for 6 hours. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Eventually, the thudding stopped. The red light stopped blinking. When the sun came up and the morning shift manager unlocked the door, found me curled up on the floor. He looked at me like I was on drugs. "Rough night?" he asked. I looked out the window. The warehouse was normal. The bots were zooming around in their grid patterns. The floor was clean. No mannequin. No pyramid of robots. My phone was sitting on the desk, right on the charger where I thought I left it. The guy who posted this thread, he quit that morning, walked out and never went back. He said the company denied any malfunction. They said the logs showed 100% efficiency that night. But here's the kicker. A few weeks later, he got a package in the mail at his new apartment. No return address. Inside was a single, small ceramic horse, the kind you'd find in an old trinket drawer, and a note typed on a label maker. It just said, "Station 4 misses you." He never found out who sent it or what sent it. So the next time you order something online with next day shipping and it arrives perfectly on time, just remember what might be moving around in the dark to make that happen.